Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to, well, I guess this isn't the Whiskey Cove. We are at Sam's Club because we wanted to come to Sam's Club and ask the question, does Sam's Club have good whiskey? Let's find out, run the video. And we are inside Sam's Club right now. So we've done a few Costco videos in the past, but we've never done a Sam's Club video. I've been to Sam's Club a few times doing some shopping, and I always check the whiskey aisle. And they normally have a pretty good selection. They have a lot of lines of whiskey set on the aisles, and then they also have a like a rare section as well. So we'll kind of leave the rare section at the end. We'll hit up the aisles first, and usually they do things for a really great price as well. So we'll go over to the aisles, we'll see what they have and see if there's some stuff we can pick up today, which is what we really want, and hopefully we can find something really rare. So let's go up and hit the aisles. So this is mainly where all the whiskey kind of sits here on the right here, and there's a little bit on the end cap as well, and like a little rare selection down there. So let's kind of just delve in to see immediately what they have. They seem to have a lot of things in big sizes, as you would expect from a big kind of pallet store. Some blended Seagram 7 Canadian whiskey. Oh no, probably blended and bottled in America. I always thought the Seagrams was like a Canadian brand, but blended and bottled by Crown Distill in New York. So it says it's blended and bottled. It's probably still made in Canada. You folks at home can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Evan Williams Black Label for $22.48. That's a pretty solid price for Evan Williams Black Label. However, if I'm going to spend that sort of money, I'm going to spend about $30 to $35 on the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond, because you're getting a lot more proof and it's a lot tasty. However, you know, you're not going to find this stuff cheaper, handle cheaper than $22.48 of Evan Williams. Moving on here, and this is a local whiskey here from Mile High Spirits down in Denver, Colorado. Again, this is their handle, and this is $31.48. So I don't know too much about this specific whiskey, but what I do know is any craft whiskey that's you're able to buy a handle for $31.48 is pretty insane value for money. It says distilled in Colorado and Indiana, aged for a minimum of 2 years. So this is Colorado distillate, and it looks like MGP distillate that's in that bottle as well. 40% ABV or 80 proof. It is coming in at a low proof, but heck, for $31.48, then I do think it's probably worth to take a stab. If you're looking for something that might be a little bit on the lighter side, something that you can just throw into a cocktail and don't have to worry about the ABV, then that might be for you. I haven't tried this one, but again, for that price, it's definitely worth a roll of the dice. And then I don't know if you remember any of the Costco videos that we did when we were in Arizona, New Mexico, but every Costco seems to have bought 1.75 liters of the rye and the bourbon. I think this is right in line with the price that it was over at Costco, $45 more or less. The bourbon is worth a little bit more. This is then the Indiana MGP 95 rye mash bill. We recently did a review of the 12-year rye, which was very good. But that's okay, it is what it is. It's a phenomenally beautiful looking bottle. That's just a little bit of a throwback, and it's just okay. It's a nice little sip. The ABV is 45%, so it gives you a little bit more of that proof that'll stand up in a cocktail a little bit more. For $46 for a mixer, I would probably go for something else, and that something else would be probably Elijah Craig. If I was to buy one here right now, I would probably go for the handle of Elijah Craig. You're getting that extra little bit of proof, and I just think that bourbon-wise, Elijah Craig is just a little bit more tasty. You get a little bit more of that kind of less of the MGP notes, which isn't necessarily always a bad thing, but I think that it's just, you know, a lot of things are MGP right now, so it's becoming like a lot of the norm, like the cheaper handles and cheaper whiskey. But then when you get something like an Elijah Craig, it has its own palate, it has its own nose, it has its own flavors that's not matched up to any other distilleries unless they're being sourced from Heaven Hill, which can happen too. If you're looking for something a little bit cheaper, they have the handles of the Jim Beam White for $24, and also the handles of Jack Daniels for $40. So we're looking at probably pretty close to double MSRP at that point. So you're probably better off staying with the Jim Beam. I think the Jim Beam's a little bit tastier in there, but I know there's diehard fans from each category there. If you're looking for some sketchy Scotch whiskey, then you've come to the right place. You can get 1.75 litres for $18 of this Clan McGregor. Never heard this, but nothing screams premium like a foil lid and a plastic bottle. This is 40% ABV or 80 proof. It is a product of Scotland, so it did make it here all the way from Scotland. But I guess if you don't care what you drink, that might be for you. But for $18, that's a massive red flag. And if regular Jack Daniels isn't for you, then much like a lot of the Costco's we went to, then you can get Gentleman Jack, a handle of Gentleman Jack, 40% ABV or 80 proof. This is a smooth sipper, almost like the Sinatra Select, but for a lot less, $43.28. Heck, that's only $3.26 more than the regular Jack. And people are buying a bunch of this stuff. You want to probably just switch to get Gentleman Jack instead for a couple of dollars. I actually think that Jack Daniels price is pretty overpriced, in my opinion. Evan Williams, again, some more Evan Williams Black Label, the handles. And we also have some Pendleton Canadian whiskey here. So Pendleton, I always thought the Pendleton was a distillery out of Oregon, and it might still be. They might still have a place up in Oregon. Yeah, Hood River, Oregon. But I guess they just source all of their whiskey from Canada because it is Canadian whiskey, Pendleton Canadian whiskey for $31.48. So it brands themselves as the true Western tradition, and maybe they might start running their own distillate in there. But if it's all Canadian whiskey, then is it true Western tradition? Because I always associated like Western cowboys with the United States of America. However, maybe they just do it to keep costs low and to get you the bottles on the shelf for 1.75, so $31.48. And it needs to be cheap stuff for you to be able to buy that. I know a lot of people like this because it's quite tasty, but it is just Canadian whiskey, which I believe is sourced from Alberta Distillery. Where are my Crown Royal peach fans at? This is peach flavored whiskey. It can't be called just whiskey because it is 35% ABV or 70 proof. For something to be called whiskey, it needs to be at least 40% ABV. I know a few years ago people were going wild about this stuff. People were just like mixing it with tea and trying to use it as like an iced tea. I've never tried the peach one. I've tried some like the vanilla, the apple, and just obviously the regular ones. And they're okay. They're pretty tasty. $44.98 for a 1.75 litre. I think that's actually a hell of a deal because normally when I see these, it's going to be closer to like $30, $40 just for a regular size. And as you can see, they only got 6 in, so this isn't the easiest bottle of whiskey to find. For $44.98, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would definitely buy this. Looks like they also had the handles of Maker's Mark here, and also the Crown Royal apple whiskey, but that's gone because they've replaced it with Corona Extra, but looks things. If you're looking to get real loose and jiggy, then the Fireball Party bucket is for you. 25 pack of 50 milliliter shooters for $18. I would take a pass on that. And of course, it wouldn't be a pallet store without Crown Royal. Oh, look at this. Crown Royal $41.48 for a handle. Pretty cool handle there. No bag with this. But then they also have the Maker's Mark Canadian whiskey. So we've seen the Kirkland version of this, but I've never seen the Maker's Mark version. And I wonder if it's the same. Is it aged? So this is blended Canadian whiskey, oak cask aged. It doesn't say a year. If you remember the one at Costco, I believe is a 6 or 7 year age statement on this. This one doesn't. It says imported by Iowa Distilling Company, New Orleans, imported from Canada. So of course this is Canadian whiskey, but it doesn't say an age statement. So you're probably better off going to Kirkland and getting the 7 year aged version of this. And I think it's pretty much the same price. In this case, I'm not sure I would get this whiskey. I'm not sure I'll get any of them. Heck, just go over and get the Crown Royal Peach instead. If we have some Scotch fans, DeWoes White Label, $34.28 for a handle. That's pretty good price. You know, I don't mind DeWoes. It's like a classic airline Scotch, if you like. They give out little shooters of this stuff. Apparently, it's a gold and prize winner of over 500 medals. Perthshire, Scotland. From the motherland, 40% ABV or 80 proof, and some more Scotch Johnny Walker Red Label, $30.98. Pretty great value for money. However, this stuff is pretty nasty. I would give that one a skip, and if you can afford it, you can pay the extra money. I know it's $37.28 more, but I would get the Black Label Johnny Walker. These are both 1.75, but this one has an aged to 12-year age statement, where this one it's just blended Scotch whiskey with no age statements. I feel like they finish off making all the rest of the Johnny Walkers, and then whatever's left, they just throw it into this red label. So I would definitely pass on that red label. You might use it as like a blended whiskey, as like a mixer, but I would just pass on it. The black one's good enough. Yes, it is double the cost, but so live within your means would be my advice on that. Here we come to maybe some of the harder to find whiskies, and a new addition here is going to be this Woodford Reserve This is the Kentucky Derby release. So this is the 150th bottle. This is a 1 litre bottle, and it's coming in at $42.98, which is a phenomenal price for this. So I mentioned on a recent video that this might be a 10-year blend. I've been seeing conflicting information, so I went ahead and emailed the Woodford Reserve folks. So they told me that the blend that they put in this is not really any different from the regular Woodford Reserve, but it was a little bit ambiguous. They were trying to tell me an answer, but they weren't able to tell me the answer, so it was a little bit weird. They couldn't confirm or deny it, but whatever, that price for the 150th anniversary of the Kentucky Derby bottle for $43 is great. You can also stick to the regular Woodford for $31.28, which is also a hell of a price as well. We also have Heaven Hill, which seems to be everywhere here in Colorado, for $40, which is a great value for money bottle there. They always seem to have plenty here at Costco's as well. And here we have our first single barrel for Sam's Club, and that is going to be Heaven's Door single barrel cask strength. It is on offer right now, so it's going to cost you $53.91. The single barrel select cask strength straight bourbon whiskey, Sam's Club Select, coming in at 61.4% ABV or 122.7 proof. Bottle number 94. I've never tried any of Heaven's Doors stuff. I think it is sourced. It doesn't say. It does say bottled by Heaven's Door in Memphis, Tennessee. It doesn't. Does it say where it's distilled? It doesn't look like that's what it says. It's distilled anywhere. But I think it's all sourced stuff from Heaven's Door. And then they also have one of my favorite everyday whiskeys here, and that's the Jack Daniel's Bonded for $26.98. You know I'm going to definitely be getting this one, so that's going in the cart, and that price. Usually you see them all for like over $30, but for that price I have to pick that up for $27. Jack Daniel's Honey they have here as well, and they also have a fairly good price on Wild Turkey Rare Breed Rye. They have a bunch of that stuff as well. So if you're around Thornton, Colorado, and you want to go and pick this up for a good price, definitely come here. And they have another single barrel select here. This is Sam's Club Colorado Barrel Select. The age is around 9.5 year age statement, 120 proof or 60% ABV, and for $44.98, that's another great price. These Knob Creek single barrels are often overlooked, but the quality in them stands up to the test of time. That price isn't as good as the $39.99 we saw in New Mexico, but still a great deal. They have some Colorado's own tin cup, MGP distillate, just cut with Colorado water, and then some Four Roses for $21.68, solid price. Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Accent Oak, so again, this is a local distillery here in Colorado. You also see these at Costco's. These don't seem to move that well, but if you're looking for something that's crafted in Colorado and you don't want to spend too much, then $36.98 might be the best for you. We have some Uncle Nearest small batch, and then lastly on this shelf, some other Four Roses stuff here too. We have some Suntory World Whiskey. We did a review on this, guys. It was pretty good. It was really unique, but a lot of the bourbon notes were overpowering. We wanted to taste more of the Japanese and Irish here. But for $50, that's a really great price if you're looking for something that's a little bit different and maybe a party talker, if you like. 1792 small batch, great price on that. Piggyback 6-year rye, $40. Hey, if you want to get into Whistle Pig, then NH 6-year for $40 might be the way to go. Some Maker's Mark 46, yeah. They changed the bottles recently to signify that this isn't going away. It used to be the curvy bottles, because Maker's Mark used the curved bottles for limited release stuff, and they used the square bottles for whiskey that's going to be full-time. So that's why they did the switch up with that. Great price, by the way. Some Basil Hayden's, obviously they haven't got the regular one, but they have the dark rye and they have the malted rye for close to $50, which is quite expensive. But they also have the Basil Hayden's Toast for $39.99, which is a great deal. And then we talked a little bit about the new releases from Yellowstone a little while ago here, and you can see the single malt here and the regular. That's a great price for the single malt. If you're looking to get into American single malt for $40, you need to go to Sam's Club and pick up this bottle. 108 proof of 44% ABV, or 54% ABV, excuse me. That might be a great starting point because it's not that much money you're gonna have to shell out. $40 is still a lot of money. However, if it's not great and it's not something you like, it's not too much compared to a lot of other American single malts. We have some Breckenridge stuff here on top, which is a distillery here in Colorado, but again, they source a lot of this stuff here, but they blend some really nice stuff and do some like rum finishes. $30, give or take, you know, again, if you're looking for something that's Colorado craft local, this isn't it. What you probably want to stick with is something like the the Axe and Hammer from down there, or that Fireside from earlier on. This, like I said, this is all usually all sourced and just added with Colorado water, much like the tin cup. And then lastly, I have this Wild Turkey 101. So this is where I get my Wild Turkey 101 from. It doesn't have a price on there right now, but I asked, and it is $17.97, which is why I get it from Sam's Club. It is always dirt cheap, and it is always here in stock. So again, if you want to go and get Wild Turkey 101 and stock up on there, definitely swing by Sam's Club. So this is where we have all our rare and hard to find stuff. It's mostly always Scotch they have in here, but every so often they'll have a whiskey. As you can see, there's a lot of Hennessy and cognac. We have the Blue Label back there for $210 if this massive Crown bottle gets out of my way. And then we also have the James Buckens as well, the Masters, $36 for that blended Scotch back there. I don't know if that's a good deal or not. The Deluxe 12-year and then an 18-year for $63. That's not bad, an 18-year Scotch for $63 seems a pretty good price. And then we also have the Glenfiddich 12-year and then the Old Parr 18-year blended Scotch there as well. So let's go ahead and do a quick walkthrough and then we'll get out of here. And we are out. So just thinking about some of the bottles that we saw there, it wasn't the most rarest selection. They had like the Heaven Hill 7, which is a pretty hard to find bottle, but they also had some other stuff like the Wild Turkey 101, the Jack Daniel's bonded at just really cheap prices. So if you're looking for good everyday whiskey at a rock bottom price, I do think Sam's Club's for you. Again, you can get like a lot of the 1.75 liters, like the Bullets, like the Evan Williams Black Label. If those sort of whiskeys are your jam and you want to get them as cheap as possible, Sam's Club is definitely the place for you. We also saw a couple of single barrels, the Heaven's Door and the Knob Creek single barrels at really great prices as well. So if you're someone who likes single barrels but doesn't want to spend that much money, that Knob Creek for $44 is great value for money. I don't know when this video is coming up, but I did a video recently of the distilleries that keep putting out some of the best store picks, and Knob Creek Jim Beam was on that list. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video as we drink through the world's whiskies one glass at a time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.